Every time.
It's my favorite.
Every time. It's like you with the clapper.
It's the clapper. Marker. Hey, friends.
Hey, friends.
I'm Cassie J.
I'm Ore.
We're so happy to have you here with us on Leave Me Alone. I'm working on it.
Okay. Someone's having a
I
really
feel
good
like we
day.
should go for like a kickboxing class together.
I'd actually do that with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it would actually be so fun.
Yeah.
We
Why
should
not?
make that happen.
Okay.
Okay, done. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about...
You look very pretty, by the way. I'm digging the hair, the earrings, the top one. I can never get this to work for me.
Same old
Like,
things.
I love it on you and I
Same
love it
old
on
things.
people.
Same old thing.
The piercing, the lips, the
This
skin.
is yours, by the way.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. I'm glad you know that it's not yours anymore. Like, that makes me feel good.
I know it's not coming back. It's fine.
Lols. Okay, so today, I wanted to talk about... Last time we spoke about adulting, and it just got me thinking, like, a key part of being an adult is just going to work. Like going to a workplace of some kind. So if it's you work at an office or you work in a hospital or sometimes you work at a, I don't know, drive-through McDonald's experience or you sell cars. The workplace for me, the more I think about it, it's actually a little bit cray-cray.
A little. Don't
So,
you mean a lot?
I want to start off by asking you, when you were younger, what did you think work life would be like? Like when you thought like, oh, I'm going to get a job one day, what did you envision?
And I'm not even sure if this is a when I was younger thing. I think this is even still pretty recent.
Okay.
And it's more like from everything I see in movies or in books. For me, it's just like getting up in the morning. It's like having your life together.
Yes.
So it's like you wake up at a certain time every day, you go to the gym, you make a cup of coffee, you make a smoothie because you're a healthy person. And then you just get dressed to the absolute nines.
Yes.
Put on the best shoes, pick the best bag. Like you look like you're about to strut on a runway and then you just walk to work. Nowhere in this picture is there traffic. Nowhere in this picture is there how is the rent paid. Nowhere is it I'm exhausted from the night before so I can't go to the gym. It's in my head, going to work as an adult was just this fancy experience. None of the reality.
For me, when I thought about what work would be like, I definitely was like, it's gonna be suits. Like I'm just gonna go. One day I will be Jessica Pearson.
You know.
Like it's gonna be so amazing. I'm gonna like exactly like you, dress to the nines.
True.
And then also a little bit of, you know, Younger, the show Younger.
Yeah.
Like I also thought like me and my girls would go out every night.
Go lunch together,
have cocktails at some new fancy, I don't know, bar thing. Like
the reality.
when I was like, it's gonna be great. But the reality is just so different.
Nobody's going for cocktails on a Wednesday night. You're tired. You want to go home and get in bed.
Absolutely. So I kind of also just feel like when you were a child, like the people that you spent time with were like in school. You were in school, all of you guys were lumped together and you had to spend time together. I feel like the workplace is that as well. It's people you normally wouldn't hang out with, but you have to see them every single day. You have to find a way to make it work. The stakes are like 10 times more higher because you're now like running a business or, you know, trying to deliver something together. But the chaos is just as real and just as petty as if you were in high school. And your arch nemesis also happens to be a 60-year-old woman who is older than the furniture and refuses to leave. Like, you know,
Cassandra.
I'm just saying, like the workplace is actually wild.
I saw a tweet like that. Something about when your work arch nemesis is a 54-year-old woman named Karen. I think I saw a tweet like that.
There we go. Your arch nemesis is a 54-year-old woman named Karen. Yeah. Anyway, cool. So I mean, I feel like that's it. I also think that the workplace has evolved into a place where they just have so much power over you. Like they make a lot of decisions for you. They like decide where you're going to go, when you're going to get promoted. And you have to like find these find out how to play a game where no one has explained the rules.
I mean, per our previous conversations, the reason no one has explained the rules is because we're all making it up as we go along. Even corporate, even management doesn't know what the rules are. They make it up.
I just also feel like sometimes management pushes the boundary. And I actually,
of course,
there's a story you told, and at the time you told it, I was just like, oh, wow. And we were thinking about it from a different context. But as I've thought about the workplace episode, I'm also just like, this is insane that this happened to you.
What happened to me?
She's looking at me like, what happened to me?
I'm so confused. I'm like, what story did I tell?
What happened to me? You know the story you told me about how your boss called you into a room to say, oh, you must decide if you're going to stay and keep the job and get a higher raise, or make the same amount of money and then please tell the story.
No, but I've told the story. I know you told the story. And then Dami watches that episode and comes home and goes, who did you take a pay cut for?
Oh yeah, you took a pay cut.
I didn't. No, but it wasn't like he said I had to. He called me in to say, this is the situation with the business and the company and what, and we're going to need to let one of you go. Because me and this person are doing similar roles.
Yes.
And he's like, we're going to keep you on and let her go. And I was just like, what? And he's like, well, if you're uncomfortable, because he could see I was uncomfortable with that. Because me and her, so we're work besties, right? And so he's like, if you want to, and I was like, isn't there any way you can keep us both? And he's like, well, the only way is if you are going to take a pay cut and then I can pay you both. But like she's going to be paid like half this. You'll both be paid half of the salary that you should earn. And that way I can split the money across two people. Because right now I'm letting one person go, so I only have to pay for one person.
Okay. I understood the story differently.
So he was like, if you want to, and because I was uncomfortable with just like, because how do you just call me and say, we're letting your friend go?
This is my thing. This is in my mind, I was like, the way that was handled, I don't think is right. Why is he putting it on you to make the decision? That's how I thought it was in my head. But you're saying...
He was basically like, I think for me, where the problem is don't tell me what you're doing with her. Like, why call me into a room and say, we're going to let her go, we're going to keep you on?
Fully
you
agree.
know? Because then that puts me... Agree. And I'm like, wait, what?
Why are you making the decision for the business?
But like, the last thing he said to me in that chat when I was like, it's fine, I'll take a pay cut, keep us both. He was like, you're too considerate. Because the problem in that situation wasn't just him, it was me as well. Because another person would have been like, oh, okay. Thanks for keeping me on. I appreciate the opportunity. And we'll say, bye. Bye, Felicia, to your bestie.
No, sorry. I don't think that's the takeaway from this. Can I just affirm you for a second here? No. The problem here isn't that you're too considerate. The problem is he can't make a decision for himself and for his business. And so he's bringing it to you to help him make the decision. I think that that's whack. I think that that's wild. You are the boss. You are in charge. You decide how things go. Instead of being, because ultimately, I feel like what he could then do is go and tell the other girl, oh no, Ore decided.
But on the flip side, Cass, what if he would have offered her the same thing?
I get you.
So it might have just been a function of like...
My point is that
you think he wanted us to make the decision for him.
Correct. I think that he was passing on like accountability for the decision to somebody else, so that if the poo hits the fan, okay, he can be like, she already decided. It was Ore's choice.
Shoo. Never thought about it that way. That's stressful.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think that story came to mind for me. And I was just like, nah. Red flags everywhere. Anyway, so the other thing that I was thinking about, which I think is so funny, and we were talking about this the other night at dinner.
Every time she says, we were talking about this, we said this happened to you, I'm just like, what? What happened?
The generations at the workplace.
Oh, this was an interesting chat the other night. It was
just so funny. And it really got me thinking, like, between the boomers, between the millennials.
But there are no boomers in this chat, though. It was just millennials.
There was no boomers in the chat. But I'm just saying, like, in the current working environment, right? You've got the boomers, you've got the millennials, and you've got this lovely new generation Zs that have come through. And each one thinks they're thebomb.com.
As always, of course.
Each one thinks the generation that has the issue is the other one.
And each one thinks that the generation that comes up after them is just full of nonsense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like boomers are very much like, is boomers offensive?
I don't know. Isn't that what it was called?
I feel like they, like if you go, because there was that whole thing like, okay, boomer. And the boomers got very upset.
I'm not
but
old
they get
enough
upset
to
about
know.
So much.
Yeah, I feel like that's the generation that gets upset.
They
are the boomers.
Correct.
The millennials are the generation that complain.
Do you think we complain
We
a lot?
do. I want to use the other terminology, but I mean, we're trying to keep it PG. But that's what we do. We be a lot, us millennials. The Gen Zers just couldn't even be bothered.
Do you know what?
Like they are fully, I feel like for Gen Z, and that's something I admire about them, they are fully self-aware.
Correct.
And they are confident and comfortable in whatever stance they've taken, and they just really don't care what you think.
I think self-aware is generous. But what I would say is that they are very good at protecting numero uno.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that we can all learn from them, right? And when I was thinking about like the different generations and I was reading about them, like the boomers really, they defined what the workplace would be like for the rest of the world, right? They really defined what it was. They created the concept of a 9 to 5. They created the concept of, you know, like hierarchy in the workplace as well. They really did that. Then millennials came through and said, oh, the other thing boomers did is boomers worked at the same company for like 27 years. Years at the same place.
I don't even know what that feels like.
At the same place. And I think that like a large part of why millennials maybe are seen as complainers is because millennials want to do meaningful work. They want their work to have meaning. They want to be giving back in a way that is substantial. Like I want to feel like I've contributed something. And if that no longer feels true, then I'm going to use my voice and I'm going to speak up and I'm going to say something. And then you just have this clash of the generations happening.
Because I feel like that generation, they were okay to just get up and go to work 9 to 5. It didn't matter what the job was. Yeah. They were okay for things to stay the same.
Even
they were
if it
okay.
was, I'm doing the same 17 tasks every single day. I will do that every single day for 30 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And that
I think
for me
you're
is
right.
crazy.
Yeah.
What I don't love is that the boomers are like, oh, millennials don't want to work.
But again,
no,
we say Gen Z doesn't want to work, but a lot of the Gen Z people,
Gen Z doesn't want to work.
Millennials say it because the way Gen Z shows up in the workplace is very different from how we show up. We are, to put it in my very Nigerian self, millennials want to tighten the world to our chests, you know, like everything's personal. You have to, if we have not used Ishon and energy and stress, we don't feel like the work has been done. But Gen Z is chilled. They've thought it through. They've planned it out. They make the best use of technology and what's available.
Oh my gosh, this is actually so true. I read the story. It was so funny. This girl she's a millennial, and she overheard a conversation in the workplace where a boss had asked a Gen Z to go and get me like 50 blank pieces of paper. And the Gen Z...
Why though?
I know. Also, it's like such a weird request.
Yeah.
But, okay. But also boomers. No, I'm kidding. Don't cancel me. I'm kidding. But to go get me 50 blank pieces of paper. And the Gen Z intern got the blank piece of paper, handed them over to the manager, and they were warm. And the manager was like, why are these warm? And he was like, well, I wasn't going to count out 50 pieces of paper. So I just went and printed 50 blank sheets so that you would get the exact number. And I was like, and the girl was just like, that's brilliant. Like, it's so clever. I would have been like,
I would have gone and counted
one,
each
2, 3,
one.
4, 5, 6,
Can you see what I'm saying? Like we're still leaning a little bit more into the manual way of doing things.
For sure.
But they make the most of whatever technology is available to them. And that's why to us it seems like they're not working, but the difference is they're just working smarter.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is interesting, I think as millennials, like the boomers did this well. They had a really good sense of work-life balance. Like they did proper, I mean, unless you were like a doctor or, you know, something that
even then
required crazy hours, but it was 9 to 5. Like that is it. And then at 5 o'clock you go home, you know, you go home to your family. Now, this was probably wildly enabled by, you know, the general sense that more men worked and more women stayed at home and that kind of thing, which is so much, oh, jeepers, sorry, I'm spilling my water over everything. But yeah, which probably helped a lot of their work-life balance, because it's a lot easier to have work-life balance when someone else is taking care of a large part of the life bit of your work-life balance.
Ooh, the feminists are coming for you with this chat.
It's true though. Am I not wrong?
No, you're not wrong. It's true.
It's true.
It's just not a part of our history that people like to revisit or talk about in favorable terms. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's always a fight. It's either the men are complaining that life was better when that was happening, or the women are complaining that why would you even bring that up?
I'm saying is that, like, for men, it was better.
It was because someone else was taking
care of absolutely everything else. And I feel like millennials have lost that sense of work-life balance. And that's why it frustrates me when, like, boomers are like, oh, millennials don't like to work. I'm like, we're working so many hours every single day because we're deeply passionate about the work that we do. So we give, like, 10,000% more to a task, you know? I don't know.
I feel like part of the problem with us, though, with millennials in the workplace is the boomers... again, don't know if this is offensive.
I also don't know.
They seem to be a bit more content. Millennials are, to put it in your terms, the insecure overachievers. That's what millennials are.
Sure.
We're trying so hard.
This is such a good point.
We're never content. We're never happy. It's never good enough.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. You drive a nice car, but there's a new one dropping next. Yeah, I want that one.
I want that one now.
So I'm going to work harder to get that one. I've become, I don't know, a managing director, but I can become an executive director. So I'm going to work harder so that in 3 years I can get there. I feel like with the boom, and I'm not saying they didn't get promoted, they didn't work hard, but they were a bit more content. Life was a little bit more slower paced, you know. This hustle, this rat race, this drive to, like, get to the top at all means necessary wasn't as deep. Well, again, I'm speaking based off of what I know, what I've experienced with my parents and uncles and aunties versus our generation. So I think that might also be why we don't have a work-life balance. Because as a millennial, you can do 9 to 5 and go home. It just means for all the other people who are doing 9 till 9 or 9 till midnight, you won't rise as quickly as those. And millennials do not want to be left behind.
No, it's true.
We don't want to be left behind. My mates are buying a house now. I need to work hard and buy a house.
Sure, but that pressure also is
unnecessary.
Much, and it is so unnecessary. Like, life is hard enough as it is. Why are we making? But again, it's about the construct. It's the construct of how things are today.
Yeah, today.
And to challenge that, we must all then get on board. It's tough. It is. T for tense.
Remember, you had we had this chat where you were saying you've realized a couple things are really expensive now, and you're wondering, how did your parents make it work back in the day?
How?
But you know, it probably wasn't this bad, you know, back
agree.
then.
Yes,
and they were able to...
are also responsible for a lot of, like, economic crises.
Okay.
No. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, and this millennial generation and ultimately the Gen Z generation will pay for those mistakes.
Yes, we are paying for it.
Boomers will be like, oh, they spent, I don't know, X amount on buying a house. But millennials now have to spend X times, like, 500%, but the salaries have not increased at the same rate. So it's crazy. It really is crazy. I was watching this comedian and he was so, gosh, it was so funny. But he was also talking about this boomers, the generational gaps, and he was saying like, he hates how boomers are like, millennials didn't work. Millennials don't like to work.
Pisses me off so much.
I know, it annoys me as well. Millennials don't like to work. And then he's like, okay, boomer. Okay, fine, you guys are offended. It's fine. But okay, boomer. And then he's like, you got to go home for lunch in the middle of the day.
Yo!
Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys would work a 9 to 5. That is it. And then you would go home for lunch in the middle of the day. In the middle of the day, millennials are like,
what lunch?
You get lunch.
You eat at your desk.
You get to eat.
If at all.
Sure, yeah. Then there's the Gen Zs. I think there's so much we're going to learn from them. I know
quite
that a lot
like
of people...
that generation.
Me too.
I'm not going to lie.
I know that there's a lot of people who are rocked.
They are who I aspire to be when I grow up.
But I feel like as millennials, we're looking at the Gen Zs and we're like, if only I could have been this strong. If only I could have, like, held my own this strong. Yep. Like, how different my life would have been. There's
a funny story from one of my previous employers. and her daughter is, well, obviously she's Gen Z, but she was really young she's like maybe 16, 17. Anyway, and this was leading up to me getting married. And I was saying to her how I needed to go home to where my parents lived for the wedding.
Yeah.
And she was just like, why? And I'm like, because my parents live there. And she's like, yes, but you don't. And I'm like, yes, but my parents live there. And she's like, but it's not your parents' wedding. And then her mom is like, but that's how it's done. And then she turns to her mom and she goes, when I'm getting married, if you like, don't come to where I am. That's a you problem. She's like, I'm not coming to you because I have nothing where you are. It's going to happen where I live, where my friends are, where I have connections. So, so to your point of wishing we were stronger, I looked at that girl and I was like, girl, I want to be you. You're my new role model.
When I
could
grow
not
up, I just want the audacity of a Gen Z person.
Right?
Like, because I'm just like, teach us your ways. Teach us your ways. The other thing that I was thinking is, like, the workplace is a crazy place, but I've also met some of the most incredible people at work as well. And, like, it's the work friends that, like, get you through it. I know.
I wouldn't know
each other.
you if not for a workplace.
I know. I like to think that our hearts would have just connected and found each other eventually. Join me on the dream. Join me on the dream. Don't doubt me. Don't doubt me. Join me on the dream. But you're right. Like, there's a lot of people that I know today that I don't think I would know if I didn't work where I work.
Yeah.
You know? And they're amazing people. But there is always that one friend. That one friend in the office where you're like, that's my girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you don't get it. Like, Suad is that for me. Like,
and she's amazing.
She's amazing. Shout out to Ladies Bachelor. But, like, she's amazing. And, like, but it's also a sanity check as well. Because it's like something crazy will happen. And you're like, this is insane. This is insane, right? And then you're like, I need to look at someone to be like, it's crazy, right?
This is not me. It's crazy. Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah.
So Suad is that for me. Taryn also is that for me. She's amazing. But yeah, you can't survive. You cannot survive without them.
You can't. What's wild for me though is, to your point, sometimes the people who become your office besties are not people that in your everyday life you would have picked.
Correct.
But now we're in the trenches together.
The trenches together. There's a crazy.
We are getting rocked together.
Rocked left, right, and center.
Exactly, and that just creates this bond between you.
Absolutely.
And like you have each other. But for me, I've realized that sometimes some of those relationships do not go beyond the workplace.
Correct.
Like once we no longer have a common enemy.
Yeah, common enemy.
Once that's gone,
say common goal, but
well,
sure.
Once that's gone,
yes.
Sometimes we just disperse. You know, like if people move or change jobs or whatever.
Yeah. I also think that, like, what's happened in the workplace today is everyone is. And I want to talk about office etiquette as well, but like everyone comes and has to present this persona. Like there's a certain person you have to be at the work where you have to be put together. You have to be, you know, the way you speak, the way you conduct yourself. You're somehow not allowed emotion. Like somehow this is now not, so you're not allowed to get angry. You're not allowed to be like overly happy. I don't know. Like you're just keep it demure.
Keep it together.
But I love when I'm like talking to people and I find out something that's completely different and interesting about them. So I was when I lived in South Africa, I was talking to the CFO of the company at the time, and he was saying that he is low-key an EDM DJ on the weekends.
What?
And like you look at this guy and you're like in the suit, in the thing, the hair, the you know,
you
how
can't
he conducts
see it,
himself.
right?
And then on the weekends he's just there like and I'm like, how? How? I must see it. I must know more. Do you know what I mean? And then I love that because what it does is that it humanizes the person.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And you just remember that these are people with lives outside of this crazy four walls.
Yeah, because sometimes when you are as per people, as per my last email, or when you are, please can you confirm or kindly revert to me as soon as at your earliest convenience. Sometimes you lose the fact that this is just another person on the other end of this who's probably dealing with whatever life is throwing at them, you know? And it's not like they're ignoring you. It's not like they don't want to come correct, but like they're just juggling a lot of things. But what you're saying is now, having that kind of info, for instance, or imagine finding out that someone teaches, I don't know, kids basketball over the weekends. You know, so it just kind of, oh, really?
Oh, really?
So the next time you are putting together your angry email.
Just remember, there's a human on the other end.
There's a human on the other end.
The other one that I thought was so interesting was there was a guy at the office also like very, very,
CFO
and then
to
I
DJ
bumped
though, Cass.
CFO.
I'm
no,
stuck.
not just DJ. EDM.
Yeah.
EDM DJ. Like electronic dance
I can't
music.
see it.
Yeah, I also can't see it. There was another guy also at the office, like very, very strict, very like, put together. Nice guy. But at the office also, he's wearing like long sleeves, like the collared shirt, whatever.
Don't I know this one?
And then, yes.
I know this one.
You do know this one. And then like bump into him at like the Woolworths and he's in shorts and a t-shirt.
See?
Like tattooed.
But it's so beautiful though. Like it's done so well.
No, guys, can I just tell you, my weakness is tattoos. I'm weak for a guy with tattoos.
Please call in.
I can't even.
Can we just turn it into like a, those radio dating shows where you give your stats?
I strongly encourage you to slide into my DMs. I strongly encourage you to slide into my DMs. But like with the tattoos, and I was just like,
sir,
hello, who are you?
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that stuff. And I think what you said now is super, super important because you can't arrive in a workplace and you can't compartmentalize your life so hectically.
Yeah.
If you have to come to work as a whole person, and so if there is nonsense that's going on at the home front or health-wise or whatever, I can't just put that down.
Yeah.
So that I can send you
as
emails.
much as we
so
want.
that I can do the share analysis. So that I can do this. I can't. And we have to remember that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. You need to respect that as well and understand that. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to play a little game. Okay. Called it's called Office Etiquette. And we're gonna yay or nay things.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because I thought you were about to ask me. I'm gonna fail at this game if she's asking me what office etiquette is because
Office etiquette. Okay. Yay or nay. Okay. Eating at your desk.
Me, I eat everywhere. I eat on the bus. I eat in the car. I eat while walking. So I'm gonna say yay.
You're gonna say yay? I also think yay.
I'm gonna say yay.
I think yay.
Because what if that's the only time you have to like quickly grab a bite while you're rushing to?
Saying.
No,
we're running around like crazy people. This is the only time I have to eat this like muffin and drink my coffee.
Yeah.
While I'm also still writing an email or whatever. I feel like that should be allowed.
I agree. I think that should be fine.
There was this guy at the office, quite senior as well, and he absolutely hated it when people ate at their desks.
Why?
Because I think he just didn't like the smells and he didn't like the crumbs and he's a little bit OCD as well. But we worked in this like very open plan space.
Yeah.
So if you were in his area, like he even went so far, it's so funny, he even went so far as to remove the trash cans in the immediate area.
What?
So that you couldn't like eat a banana and throw away the
Okay.
He was like,
okay, sir.
No. So eating at your desk, some people cannot stand.
Except of course you're like me and you chew very loudly.
Do you chew loudly?
I think so. Dami says I chew loudly.
Dami says you
but
chew loudly?
you also know Dami, don't
so
you?
OCD.
He's also he's not
so,
OCD.
No,
he's just
Dami is
meticulous.
OCD. You're married to him, so you have to be nice. Let me tell you the truth. Dami is OCD.
If you chew loudly, it might be wise to just.
That's hilarious. Have you watched that? Have you watched How I Met Your Mother?
Bits and pieces.
So there's this episode on How I Met Your Mother where it's called like glass shattering, and it's like you learn something about someone that you didn't know, but now that you know that about them, it like drives you insane.
Yeah.
I feel like this is gonna be my glass shattering.
Because now every time I'm eating, you're gonna be like, is she chewing loudly?
She does chew loudly. Anyway, so funny. Okay, yay or nay? Microwaving fish in the office.
Why are you even bringing fish to the office? Why? Why are you bringing fish to the office? Chicken, beef, that's it. No eggs, no fish.
Oh, eggs.
No eggs, no fish, no
egg. Beans.
Yeah.
Beans are great as well.
Not in the office, they're not.
Why no beans? Beans are actually fine.
Well, if you're Nigerian and you make beans the way Nigerians make beans,
see.
No beans in the office.
In the office?
Nuh-uh.
So yeah. So this has also caused many a fight
The smell
in the
is
office
the
space 'cause
problem.
the smell is a bit much. So yay or nay? Nay. You're
nay,
a hard nay.
Nay.
I'm like.
No, girl. Have
live
your
your
fish when you get
best.
home. No, don't live your best. Have your fish when you get home, or go eat that thing in your car.
Okay, yay or nay? Staying home when you're sick.
Absolute yay.
Please stay home when you're sick.
Absolute
No, listen,
yay.
this is a public service announcement. Stay home when you are sick. It's so important. You're coming in, you're pretending to be the soldier, like, oh, look at me, I'm like doing the things for the people, even though I'm dying. Like, no one is impressed by you. but let me tell you this right now. No one is impressed by you. And all you are doing is making everybody else sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it goes around.
And then the whole team is down. Now I'm coming to work. My whole team is out. How must stuff happen? Because you wanted to be a soldier. Stay home.
I don't know if it's just about wanting to be a soldier. I think it's also just being unsure. And I think this is where corporate, this is a corporate thing, by the way, because you're not sure, like, if I stay home, how am I perceived? Like, I'm weak.
I know.
Like, you just have a cold,
Sure,
and you can't come in because you have a cold. It's just a cold. Take a few pills, come in. You also feel like now
fair,
they think I'm weak. Exactly. So you try to come in, not because you want
some bosses
to.
Are the worst. Okay, fine.
So,
you're right. Some bosses are not great.
But yeah, you should stay home.
But I just think in today's, unless you are also, even if you are in the service industry, I think it's even more important.
Yes.
Like managing people's food or like
don't come in.
Nope. Don't come in. But I also think, and speaking now very specifically corporate, we've proven through COVID that we can work from home. Like, it's fine. Like, if you really, really want to be the soldier, dial in. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's okay. Just don't come in.
Don't come in, yeah.
Okay. The last one. Sliding into people's Teams chats, but like a cold call Teams chat.
But you work in the same place?
Yeah, but why are you cold calling me?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to, hey Cassie, do you have a few minutes? And then call me. Don't just call me.
See, this is a problem for me because even in my everyday life, don't call me.
This is true.
Don't call me.
I hate speaking on the phone.
Text me.
I'm so bad at texting. I'm so bad at texting. So
like text me, and then if I don't respond, and don't call me back to back 5 times.
Shoot.
If I don't take your call the first time,
there's a reason.
If I don't take it the second time, you best believe that there's
like
a
the
strong
limit is 2.
2 calls.
2 calls. You can call me twice in a row. After that, leave it.
Text me. Hey, will you call me back when you get a minute?
Don't even do that.
So what was the question? Sorry, I just went off on a tangent because
the cold call Teams calls.
Nay. Text me.
Hardcore
Send me a message.
Hardcore nay. Okay.
Email me.
And then Teams chats. Someone was saying the other day that a Gen Z emailed Teams chatted them, yo. And he just hated it so much. And I think it's so funny.
I don't hate it because
I don't hate it
we
either.
say hey.
We say hey all the time.
But the boomers don't say hey. And I'm sure we've said hey to them.
I say hey to everyone.
That's my point.
Irrespective of your level, I will start a Teams chat. Hey, so and so.
That's my point. Because that's our lingo.
Yeah.
But for Gen Zs, what if yo is the lingo? I mean, we're old, so we don't know.
But also, it's less about being old. It's more like, why do you care? Like, why does this upset you so much?
The same reason why the boomers would have had an issue when we started saying yay. Or hey, rather, yay.
Yay.
We should actually be going, yay, Cassie, do you have a minute?
Yay, Cassie. Yay, Cassie.
I quite like it.
Celebrations all day round.
Right?
No, but I just thought this was so funny. So, like, I guess you want, so this is my view, okay?
Yeah.
Is that you've grown up respecting your elders. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And you would never email someone and be like, yo. Like,
yo, my man.
And now that you are more senior, you want that same respect.
Of course.
You want that same respect.
Yeah.
I paid my dues. It's now time for the youngins to do the same.
Yeah.
And so when he received his yo, he was just like,
excuse you?
Excuse me? How dare you yo me? Who do you think you are? But I thought that was
this is so funny.
I love the yo. I thought it was hilarious. Wouldn't bother me. Anyway, so yeah. I also went down a rabbit hole of reading like insane workplace stories. Hey.
Okay.
Like things that people have gone through. Like it is wild out there. Like wild out there. Okay, so I'm gonna read some of the stories. This one I thought was actually just very funny. So I was working as a sign language interpreter in a classroom setting. And the teacher's aide decided to stand between me and the students, blocking their view. I asked her to move, and she told me that she was doing it on purpose so that the student didn't rely on her too much.
I'm sorry. I'm confused.
So you've got a student in the class who's deaf.
Yes.
Okay.
One student
Student in class who's deaf. And there's a sign language interpreter. Okay. And this is inclusion. I love it. I think that's great. Yes. Right. The teacher's aide, and this is just to showcase people's logic. The teacher's aide, who is like, usually these are instructors who are learning to become teachers. They haven't fully qualified yet. Decides to stand in front of the interpreter so that the student doesn't become too reliant on the interpreter.
What does that even mean?
What does that mean?
What do you mean becomes reliant?
How? I physically need you to get educated.
What does she mean?
Again, it's just like the insane logic of some people. I'm
not sure that the teacher's aide understands what it means to need an interpreter. I don't, maybe she doesn't understand. Maybe she thinks it's because you know how a good example is dyslexia. How people just think you just need to learn how to spell better. You just need to pay attention when you're writing. But meanwhile, it's not about that.
Yeah.
So maybe she thinks it's one of those things. Maybe she doesn't actually realize that you just...
I just don't know how that could be true.
Oh, girl, there's people in the world who just...
I just don't know how that could be true.
Make up their own realities.
Yeah, it's wild.
So...
Okay, here's another one. I've been working at the school for 4 months, and something surprised me a few weeks back. Apparently, I always walked into the elevator after school and did something hilarious. I resonate with this deeply because I do this as well. If I was alone in the elevator, I would start to argue with myself and express the anger I couldn't express to the students, frustrating me. Unknown to me, there was a CCTV camera in the elevator. This particular day, the head of school called me to the camera room. I wondered if something was wrong, but my mind never even went to the elevator. He had said that he would like to show me something interesting he noticed while checking the footage. I was fascinated to find out what it could be. Lo and behold, it was me. I was doing my thing and he was laughing. I felt deeply embarrassed because it means he's been watching this for the 4 months that I have been here.
True. I mean, I wouldn't feel embarrassed. I do this all the time.
I know. I talk to myself often.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So sometimes you just need to get a thought out.
Yeah.
And
just see, like, sound it out.
Sound it out. What does it sound? Just, it's weird when this happens in public for other people.
Yeah, it is weird. But
okay, this one is wild because not only is the workplace wild, but the people you encounter sometimes are just cooked.
Everybody's cooked.
Hardcore cooked. Okay. I had an employee call me to tell me her mother died. Well, I got an anonymous phone call from someone telling me she was lying. So I called the number I had on file to send my regards to her family, and to get an address to send flowers. In the meantime, the office had collected an envelope of money to help with the cost of the funeral and missing work. When I called, the mother answered the phone and was shocked to find out her daughter used her death as an excuse to go to Vegas for the weekend.
People are out here killing their moms.
Right? When she returned, I held a big meeting with everyone in the office and presented her with the envelope of money and flowers. She took it and fake cried. I called her into my office later that day to reveal that I knew, and I fired her and I took the envelope back. She said she doesn't care and she left.
I don't even have words. Like I What? You killed your own mother so you can go to Vegas.
Can we also just talk about the insanity of putting that energy into the universe at all? Like, why would you lie about your mother being dead?
Okay, but there's this thing called leave. Maybe you should try, get some.
Yeah.
Like, just apply.
Like, maybe
I want to
go.
Vacation
days, maybe.
Just like
maybe.
You what? I'm imagining how I'd feel as a mother.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even kill me for something reasonable.
Yeah.
To go to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. You killed me to go to Vegas.
It's not even worth money. You didn't even make money for killing me.
She did make money because the office collected money for her and put her in an
How much money? Girl, I mean, like, you win the lottery or something. Like, you mean like a couple million. How much do you think the office is going to give you?
The story is wild.
But you're right. Why would you even put that out?
Why would you even put that out there? It's absolutely insane.
I really want to know what was happening in Vegas. If you check, it's a boy.
Oh, she just wanted to have fun. People are. I think this is the point. Like, people are sometimes just a little cooked.
True.
Anyway, that's it on workplace dramas. The workplace is insane. Do what you can to stay sane.
Yeah.
Do what you can to stay sane. Whether that's leaning on friends. Swat is my work wife. Shout out to you, girl, because
I think it's important to just learn what your boundaries are. And you know, that thing Dami always says is people will push your boundaries. They'll push to see how far they can go. You must be the one to decide this is where I draw the line. You know, so choose your peace of mind, choose your sanity. If you need to work 9 to 5, 9 to 6, you decide that. And tomorrow because what's that quote I've seen? The sun will rise and we'll do it all over again. Because that's literally what will happen. You're going to do it anyway. So choose peace.
Choose peace. And keep it moving. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us today. Don't forget to come say hi on socials. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe in all the places that you will find and listen to our podcast. Okay, love you. Bye.
Someone's in a singing mood.
I know, I've been singing all day.
You have. Okay, love you.
Okay,
bye.
love you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe anywhere and everywhere you find your podcasts. Also, you can watch and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, love you. Bye.